Existence Brewing.
Here's another Existence Brewing single shot.
Speaking of Lay's potato chips, have you heard about this? There is a attempt by I want to get this guy's title right. It is the city of San Francisco. He is the city attorney, and they filed a suit this week against food manufacturers over ultra-processed foods, arguing that the cities and the counties have been burdened with the cost of treating diseases that stem from these companies' products. And I was amazed to find out that ultra-processed products, so that's like potato chips, soda pop, really anything that has more than...
junk food.
Yeah, anything that really has more than 5 ingredients in it, it could be considered a processed food. Ultra-processed foods are now comprised of 70% of the American food supply and grocery store shelves. So quite an amazing, so think Slim Jims, meat sticks, Cool Ranch Doritos, which, by the way...
Back to porn actors again, Slim Jim.
Cool Ranch Doritos, I think, are probably some of the best things on the planet.
I remember when those came out in the 80s. And I lived through a time. That's right, children. Your Uncle Jack lived through a time when there was no Cool Ranch Doritos. There was only the hideous original ones and taco flavor, which they brought back at some point, but it went away for a while. So I say this based on the very, very limited amount of junk food that I put in my own body today, as opposed to the mass of it that I think I used to as a teenager and a young man in my early 20s, probably. Even junk food used to taste better than it does today. Even it used to be better for you. And I say this based on one and only one junk food item, the Hostess Snowball. I may have told this tale on the podcast at some point before, so forgive me if I'm being redundant.
I don't think you have.
Forgive me if I'm being, episodically redundant, at least in some fashion, but it's been several years now, and this will hit me every several years. I'll be on the road or I could just be at home, but I happened to be on the road. I was taking a drive on here, a beautiful highway in our home state that leads to a very well-known dam. And I was not going there to see the dam. I was just driving this highway because it runs by a river that has been made into a series of lakes by this dam. And
a reservoir.
It's very picturesque. Yeah. So I just started this drive, and it's about 25 miles to the top where the towns are around this dam. And the Hostess Snowball craving that will occur every 2 to 5 years, roughly.
Probably when you're on a highway.
And I was like, I am a great... I like to think I'm a very good steward of my body. I exercise more now than I was then, but I was still a walker then, at least. Now I'm an actual gym goer, at least on the treadmill. But I exercise regularly. I eat well. I never have taken an illicit drug in my life, even marijuana. That is true. I know a lot of people, yeah, right. But it's 100% true. God is my witness. He knows. It knows. Don't drink alcohol, all of it. I'm a good boy.
Yeah.
But, the craving, that the gene kicks in, and I just literally looked at, my half self in the rearview mirror, and I said, I am having a goddamn Hostess Snowball today. And so, I hope they're pink. Because the pink ones and the white ones, the original white ones and the pink ones were always the best. And they came in different colors. Yes, yellow included. They don't make yellow snowballs. They did. I remember them very well when I was a kid.
You can't eat yellow snow. You're not supposed to eat yellow snow.
But they made yellow snowballs. So anyway, I get to this town. I go in the Safeway. I track down the Hostess rack. There they are, my pink dyed snowballs as ordered. And so that and a nice little half quart of milk. What do you call a half quart? Pint? Yeah. Little pint of milk to wash them down with. I'm all set. So I'm happy as a clam. I go out to my ride. I get in, we unwrap them, and the very first thing that I notice is, hey, these are small compared to the Snowballs that we used to get. The Snowballs we used to get were good size. I would say they were probably maybe 4 inches in circumference, maybe
Really?
5 even. They were good size, and you got 2 nice good mounds, and these were more like 2.5, maybe 3 at the most, but they weren't as big. And then I remember, and this could be exacerbated by the fact that I have gone the way of healthier eating and whatnot in the last 25, 30 years. And so therefore my body's tolerance for anything that's that chemically laden is not as strong as it used to be. It's not used to that stuff. I took one bite and was just overwhelmed with the toxicity of what I just put into my mouth.
Oh no. So the Snowballs aren't what they used to be, huh?
Well, they're not as fresh. The coconut wasn't as fresh, nor was it as real as the old stuff. The marshmallow was not. And these were fresh cakes. You could tell they weren't, but nothing was the same. And while some of that, again, could be given to the fact that, again, I've grown up and my eating habits are better than they were 25 years ago, I know that at least half or more of it could be given over to the fact that Hostess has been jacked compared to how it used to be. It just flat out was not as good a product. And it's really sad because, when you have behaved yourself for 3 years in a row consecutively and you really want to cut loose and just have that Snowball, I want a good old-fashioned 1979 coming home from school, maybe unwrapping the sack lunch at school Snowball.
Yeah.
But you can't get them anymore. And Doritos bring the same thing to mind when you're talking about Cool Ranch, because I had not had a Dorito in, since the frickin' Clinton administration. And there was a bag of them open at my girlfriend's parents' house last year or the year before because their other daughter's a real junk food junkie. And I was like, what the hell? I haven't had a fucking Dorito in forever. Oh, they are, first of all, they're just coated with that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that stuff is.
Yeah.
Just overly
It's like pixie
coated.
dust.
Oh, it's way too much. And it also tastes hideous, again, compared to how it used to. I'm convinced that Doritos are now powdered with something that's, intentionally designed to probably zombify you and make you want to watch Fox News or, something like that, as opposed to the 70s and 80s Doritos that I grew up eating that, yes, they were terrible for you, but they were much closer to being real food. And they were just, even junk food wise, they were better for you.
We hope this single shot inspired you to want more Existence Brewing. To check out full episodes of the podcast and for more, head to existencebrewing.com or wherever you download your favorite podcasts online.
Existence Brewing.